October 3rd, 1919. In the wake of the Great War, with the leaves just beginning to change, our story begins. With temperatures climbing up to 85 degrees, 400 onlookers watched on as Bowling Green State Normal School would take on Toledo University. The Normals, as they were then known, would lose that day 6-0, as a first quarter rushing touchdown from Toledo would prove to be all it would take. Things wouldn't be easy for that initial Bowling Green team. Led by John Stitt and comprised of 19 men, more than half of the 36 men attending Bowling Green at the time, they would lose their next two matchups, 12-0 at Defiance and 10-0 to Michigan Normal, now known as Eastern Michigan. The significance of these games would not be diminished by the poor performances on the field, though. Football had arrived in Bowling Green, and it would not be leaving anytime soon. 1920 would bring about marginally more success for the Normals, as not only would they score their first points, but they would also notch their first win. Under the leadership of Coach Walt Jean, Bowling Green would defeat Kent State 7-0 to finish the year at 1-4. Their first real success on the gridiron would come in 1921. After joining a conference for the first time, and with their third coach in as many years, Earl Krieger would lead the Normals to a 3-1-1 season, good enough to win the Northwest Ohio League Championship. One game, however, stands above the rest. Bowling Green would score 22 touchdowns and convert 19 of 22 extra points on the way to a 151-0 defeat of Findlay College, one of the largest defeats in all of college football history. Bowling Green would win the Northwest Ohio League 4 more times throughout the 1920s, in 1922, 25, 28, and 29. 1923 would see the Normals move from Ridge Street Field, a field behind a local school for children, to a new on-campus field behind University Hall consisting of wooden bleachers with space for roughly 1,000 spectators. In 1927, Ivan Lake, an alumnus who had played on the inaugural 1919 team, would suggest the nickname Falcons, and it would quickly be adopted. 1 year later, in 1928, the Falcons would have their first undefeated season led by first-team All-Ohio Chet Chapman. They would finish the year 5-0-2. The 30s and 40s would see the Falcons football program continue to grow, moving from the Northwest Ohio League to the Ohio Athletic Conference, replacing the wooden bleachers at University Stadium with a permanent concrete structure complete with a press box, concessions, and 3,148 seats. Under head coaches Harry Ackerman and Robert Whitaker, the program would see moderate success, notably a 6-1-1 season in 1939 under Ackerman and an undefeated 8-0-1 season in 1948 with Whitaker. In 1952, Bowling Green would join the Mid-American Conference, which remains their home today. National relevance would come in 1955 with the arrival of Doit Perry, a former captain of the football, basketball, and baseball teams at Bowling Green. He would quickly achieve success and in his first year lead the Falcons to a record of 7-1-1. Over the next decade, Perry would win 5 MAC championships and compile a remarkable 77-11-5 record. In 1959, behind a 9-0 season, Bowling Green would be named Small College National Champion by the UPI. Perry would step down after the 1964 season and take the position of athletic director at the university. In 1966, Bowling Green would complete construction on their $2.8 million stadium project, which would later be named Doit L. Perry Stadium, or more commonly known, the Doit. Later in 1988, Doit Perry would be inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, and 4 years later, on February 10, 1992, at the old age of 82, Perry would pass from this world, gone but never forgotten. Perry's successor, Bob Gibson, a longtime assistant of Perry, would win another MAC championship in 1965 before departing the team 3 seasons later in 1967, finishing his time at Bowling Green with a 19-9 record. Since the departure of Gibson, Bowling Green has seen moderate success throughout the years, adding MAC championships in 1982, 85, 91, 92, 2013, and most recently, 2015. Many notable coaches have had stops in the Doit, including Don Nealon, who would go on to coach at West Virginia, Denny Stoles, who'd go on to coach at Michigan State, Dino Babers, Syracuse, Dave Clawson, Wake Forest, and perhaps most notably, Urban Meyer, who would go on to win multiple national championships with Florida and Ohio State. More than a century after those 19 men took the field against Toledo, a rivalry that is still played today, Bowling Green has accumulated 12 MAC championships, a national championship, and entertained generations of players, coaches, and fans. The game of college football is always changing, and that afternoon in 1919 would be almost completely unrecognizable from the game played today. But the rich history of Bowling Green football is always evolving. And now the only question that remains: can Bowling Green once again reach the pinnacle of college football?